or some sort of like Chicano drag queen or something like that that threw the first brick into the stone wall that began the riot. And so why are you all standing there? Fight back. And so that's when it began. And that's when gay people refused to step down and be victims anymore and to play by the rules, instead to actually tell them, no, we demand our rights. That's where it began. Okay, that's the night. And that's where the gay rights liberation movement basically began. And so I think that it's important to remember and to note that the majority of people at this place were of color or were transgender or transvestites. And, a lot of Latino and a lot of Black, this kind of subculture type people, not mainstream at all. And there, of course, were white people there who were mainstream gays or whatever as well, but the majority were not. And so this movie, the trailer anyway, depicts and it seems to center the movie around a boy named Johnny coming to the city for the first time and running away from home after coming out or whatever from the Midwest or some shit like that. I don't know. And he ends up, the way it's filmed anyway, the way the trailer it depicts it is that he ends up being the leader of this rebellion and throwing the first brick. And this has pissed off so many people because it doesn't depict the truth. And the truth being what I just told you from what we know. So I think that it is understandable why it's so fucking, like pisses people off so much, because it does actually act as if this white person, not people of color, were the ones that began the rebellion. Now, it doesn't matter so much who began the rebellion. It's just the point is that many, many times in history of American cinema and in the history of America in general has the white culture appropriated Black culture for its own use or changed history to make it look as if a white person did something when really it was a Black person. I could go read you a whole fucking list of it. If you want, you can email me. I'll give it to you. But I'm telling you, there's a bazillion examples of this in American history. And so it gets really tiring when you see very few representations of gays of color being represented honestly for who and what they have achieved or done in our culture and in our community. And so this is just another example of that, and that's why so many people are pissed off about it. But then I saw a video, or the guy who plays Johnny in the movie, I can't remember his name, but he actually tweeted out his response to all of the people kind of condemning the movie, saying basically you need to see the movie first because that's not at all the way it's depicted. And I think that that's fair. I think you can't judge something you haven't seen yet. I think the person who put the trailer together, and which probably was the director, it's their fault to have done it if in fact it does not actually depict it the way the trailer depicts it. So hopefully it depicts it honestly. So I'm still going to see it, although a lot of people are boycotting it. I still think it's important to watch it and see it's an important time in our history, and I think that it should be seen. So I think you should too. So that's the Stonewall thing. And then Jennifer Aniston, apparently, she is now the face of United Emirates Airlines, which is like UAE, like Saudi Arabia, And Saudi Arabia is not it's of the Middle Eastern countries, it's pretty progressive, but it's not a very gay-friendly place. And they actually have very anti-gay views in terms of the United Arab Emirates airline and against women and other things like that. So people are pissed off at her for having taken on this contract to be the face of this airline that is anti-gay and anti-women. And I don't know. I think that I think personally for me, if I were going to represent a brand, which is never going to happen, but I'm saying other than my own, obviously, I think that if I were going to do that, if I were famous or an actor or whatever, I would not put my name on something that I had not researched, that I had not vetted to see what they believe and how they think. It's like saying, oh, let's put Donovan on the, Republican platform or something, something I totally don't believe in. And that would fucking piss me off. And if they were paying me enough money, would I do it? No, I wouldn't, because I wouldn't compromise my own personal integrity and what I believe in just for money. I'm sorry, I just can't do that. I wish I could, because I'd be a whole lot richer. but I can't. So I have to actually believe in what I put my name to, or whatever I'm doing. I can't just do it to make a buck just because it's easy for me. So I wonder if she was thinking the same thing, but I think that she needs to actually not put her face on that. Then there was one more thing. There was the Confederate flag versus the rainbow flag. You know, a lot of people have been talking about the Confederate flag and how, the government has taken down the Confederate flag and several Confederate monuments and things like that throughout the country. And I think I think it's fine. Of course, I'm perfectly happy with that because it's a racist symbol. It's a symbol of oppression and of slavery, etc. However, some people are saying, well, why is it okay for the Confederate flag to be taken down because some people are offended by it, and not the rainbow flag because some people are offended by that, which is the gay rights flag or whatever. And there's a huge distinction between these two things. One is that the Confederate flag is also against gay people, by the way. It's not just against blacks, it's against gay people too, because the KKK uses it as a symbol of their own as well. But it is, the difference to me is that you can fly your flag wherever you want. If you want to fly a Confederate flag, you can fly it. You just can't fly it on public property. Public property cannot have a Confederate flag anymore. Public institutions like, government buildings and capitals, things like that, schools, whatever, that used to have the Confederate flag, which, believe it or not, they still flew in some places, can no longer fly alongside the American flag or at all on those properties because it's a government, entity. However, if you have a flag and you want to put it in your fucking bumper, or if you want to put it on your, on your house or whatever, that's your right. Go right ahead. If you want to look like a fucking bigoted moron, go right ahead. We don't care, but we'll all know where you are. And I'm all for that because I'd rather know where you are than when you're not. The not know, I mean. However, when it comes to the gay rights flag, which represents a movement, which represents a movement of oppression, it's like saying getting rid of the Star of David. You can't fly a flag with a Star of David on it or whatever because because some people don't like Jewish people. But the Jewish symbol of the Star of David does not in and of itself in some way condemn people for being who and what they are or represent oppression of other people. It represents the oppression that they have endured. And the same thing happens with the gay flag. It doesn't take away people's rights. It doesn't say people are less than. It doesn't do all these things that represent slavery or all the things that the rebel flag represents. So therein lies the difference, and I think there's a huge distinction there. And anyone with a brain knows that. It's only people who don't have one that you have to defend this to. So if you have to defend yourself on that now, you can. You can tell people what I said. So that's what I wanted to say. So I just wanted to do a quick show on the Off Limits Show tonight. I'll be back tomorrow with my co-hosts. All three of us are co-hosts. Me, Donovan, and Christian, and with Jason. And we're talking tomorrow night about, I think, weight and weight loss and gay community or something like that. And also, what else are we talking about? Let me see if I can find the email. We had a list of things we're talking about, so I'll probably tell you in case you're interested in listening to the show tomorrow. We are talking tomorrow about, here we go. Oh, gay adoption. That's right. Gay adoption. Would you do it? When to do it? How to do it? I think that's interesting. And we're also going to talk about Ariana Grande and Wendy Williams issues. Talking about Target becoming gender neutral, Melissa McCarthy's weight loss, Jennifer Hudson's new look, Bill Cosby, Morgan Freeman's granddaughter, and Straight Outta Compton, the movie review by Jason. So we'll talk about those things as well as things that I want to discuss, as well as things that Christian wants to discuss. So we'll be back tomorrow night. Be sure to listen to the show. You can listen to the show at offlimitshow.com, and you can click on Listen Live there until we get the show on the gayxyz.com website, which won't happen until, of course, like I said, we have the you can listen to the show after the fact on the gayxyz.com website, by the way, if you want to listen to it in the archives. But if you want to listen to it live, you've got to listen to it at offlimitshow.com until we get on iHeart over there. Okay, so I want to thank you for listening, and check me out at offlimitshow.com. I hope you have a great night. Thanks for listening.